two questions together because they kind of relate. So, what types of small businesses will get the most value from social networking, and also, how do you see the differences in the social networking opportunities for large business versus small business?
So, what types of value? Just going to repeat the first question. What types of small businesses get the most value from social networking?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the ones that really have a high percentage of their customers interacting online. Yeah, that would make sense. And then two, the ones that map out a clear strategy to move forward with. You know, really, it's the thing, and I can't stress this enough. Unless you do a little bit of homework up front, figure out where your customers are talking to each other online, figure out what goals you're trying to get out of social networking, you're really not going to. You may get some results, but you're not going to be spending your time efficiently. Yeah.
Can I just follow up on that? So are you saying B2C is more appropriate than B2B?
Well, no. I mean, my company, we just probably work 90% of our clients are B2B,
okay,
and we're doing it through social media. And I actually think there's different channels and there's different approaches. So one of the things, and I'll give you an example. A lot of our clients are professional service firms. And also technology companies. And one of the things that we found is that social media and social networking sites are fantastic for what we call expert positioning. So really thought leadership. Think of it. I don't know if anyone here worked in a professional service firm or an attorney or an accountant or anything like that. Yeah? Okay. Well, yeah, you all look like happy people. That's what well, one of the things is that people have something intelligent to say, and this affords a lot of times an opportunity. If you're not self-promoting, but really as a contributor, part of the community, it's a great way for B2B people to show their expertise and improve their point of difference in a way that would be similar to maybe something in a speaking engagement to a room full of business owners that might need an accountant, might need an attorney. So I think that there is absolutely trackable, tangible return on investment for B2B. It's just a little bit of a different approach than you would for B2C.
Yeah, I'd like to add, I mean, the whole thought leadership, positioning yourself as an expert is really what so much of this boils down to when you're talking about reaching out to people. And that's why blogging can be so valuable to any kind of social network strategy, because it can really be kind of a home base. So you can't really have a in-depth discussion on Twitter, but you can post a whole lot of information on a blog. And that's generally where a lot of people try to drive traffic to their blog. So if you're a business owner, your blog may not necessarily be about, okay, well today I got a new client. Okay, well that's not very interesting. But if you're a subject matter expert on, say, some sort of legal aspect, or in my case, real estate, things like that, well, there are all sorts of things happening in that industry that you can comment on. And basically, if you can provide that expertise to people on the web, then it can be found anywhere. One example that I like to use as far as this reach, AJ mentioned widening the net. So if you're on these traditional channels, like face-to-face, just face-to-face dialogues, you can have a conversation with someone. Someone asks you a question, and you have a really good response for them. You can compose this response, and you tell them, and they're blown away, and they're like, "That's great. I definitely want to work with you." All right. Well, that happened offline. There's no other way for anyone else in the world to benefit from that conversation. Well, if that conversation took place in kind of an online context, like on a blog, let's say someone asks you that question, and you say, "Well, actually, I have a blog post about that," or "That's a good question. I'm going to write a blog post about it." You compose that blog post. And you use maybe keywords in their question, which Google loves, good keywords, which people love to search by these appropriate keywords. Then anyone else in the world with access to Google or Bing or whatever can find that same post, and they can also be blown away, and they can be converted to follow you based on your expertise, just because you took that conversation from the offline world and put it online. And anyone can do that. It doesn't matter, large or small. I think maybe, as we mentioned earlier, it can be even better for the smaller firms, just because of the ROI. They may have more time than money. Obviously, time is money, but when you get down to brass tacks, generally you'll have more time than money at the start of your business. So it can be a really, really valuable tool. Question?
Could you not drive them to your website because it's not interactive?
Well, see, and this is another interesting thing that I like to tell people about. So, if you're blogging, generally you want to blog 3 times a week, as kind of a good rule of thumb. If you're doing it once a week, that's okay, but no less than once a week. how much time are you going to be spending updating your blog versus how much time are you spending updating your website? You know, I mean, what kind of interactive tools, like you say, do you have on your website? Most people's websites don't incorporate a lot of these social features like commenting and things like that. Blogs are built around this interactivity. So generally, what I tell people, at least in the real estate sphere, is you know, okay, well, what's a real estate website for? Well, it's for searching for properties and providing information about the realtor. Okay, well, if all your website's doing is providing property searches, well, why don't you just put a link on your blog and say, you know, click here to search for properties, and the rest of it is your comments and context about the market, about properties, things like that.
I was just going to add to that too. One of the things that I always recommend too is that if you have a website and you have a blog and you're, you know, different things, you're managing different profiles in different social networks, and you know, maybe you're active on different platforms. I always recommend you have them linking to each other.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, that's something that's really important for a couple different reasons. One, you know, obviously referral traffic is key. So if someone finds your blog because they've, you know, maybe they've done a Google search and it's come up because of the content and, you know, your search visibility. You know, maybe that someone else posted a link to one of your blog posts from Twitter and came to your blog and saw the link to your website and drove in from there. And vice versa. Someone came to your website and wanted to know a little bit more about who you are and, you know, what your expertise is, and there's a link to your blog, and they get a better feeling as to who you are. You think about it as building pieces of a web. You know, so I always talk about sales leads and customers and prospects who are coming in. You know, if you have more pieces to that web, there's probably a better chance that they're going to come in and engage with you in some way.
Yeah, there's this whole notion of syndication, like syndication of content. So you kind of create your content one time in one place, and then it's automatically distributed to all of your different web properties. So I mentioned RSS earlier. If you don't know what RSS is, go to a website called commoncraft.org. It's commoncraft.org. And watch some of their videos. They have these very short 4 to 5 minute videos, very, very simplified explanations of what a lot of these technologies are. So using this technology called RSS, you can basically set up your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Facebook page, your blog, so that they all are connected. So when you make a post on your blog, it automatically shows up in your LinkedIn profile. It automatically posts something on Twitter that says, Mike has a new blog post. Click here to go read it. It automatically shows up on your Facebook page. You can have, you know, widgets for your website, which is just a scrolling list of everything in an RSS feed, such as your new blog posts. So you basically create this one blog post and it goes everywhere. And you don't have to go to all these different properties and manually post and update. It can save you tons and tons of time because you're just creating the content once. It automatically shows up everywhere.
Yeah, most of these websites, most of the platforms and social networking sites too, they make it really simple.
Oh, yeah.
Really simple to set this up. So now you spend a few minutes getting taking care of some of this process, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff is really built for the layperson now. You know, I mean, Facebook could not have 200 million users if it was difficult to use. You know, so I mean, and one thing I always tell people is, you know, the only way that you're really gonna understand is if you just try it. You just do it. You know, you can't watch someone ride a bike and then just hop on a bike and start pedaling. I love that analogy because that's really what it's like. You just gotta get a little bit of a feel for it. Take 30 minutes here and there and actually just